That's right, guys. A made-up game right now. Just to FYI, the made-up game I'm currently playing is muting my mic in between sessions of tile cutting that someone nearby is doing in their back garden. So just if you do hear the sound of tiles being cut, which is quite a loud sound, apologies. There's very little I can actually do at source.
Oh, hey, talking of noise outside, controversy on the estate here just before we get to the made-up game.
Share, tell.
I was chatting to my neighbour the other day, and he said he got an anonymous letter through the door telling him to stop running at 8:30 in the morning because it was too early and his panting and grunting was waking them up.
Running where?
Just around the block. So
You're kidding me?
My neighbour, who is lovely, and he does run a lot, to be fair, because he likes to keep himself fit. Apparently, his running's so loud that it's disturbing someone at 8:30 in the morning elsewhere on the estate.
What's your cut-off for early morning stuff? I would say at 8:30, you've got to suck that up. Unless you're working nights, I suppose that's different then.
I think 8:30's absolutely fine.
Well, if you look into actual guidelines for nuisance noise, I think it is 8 till 6 on a weekday and 10 till 5 on a Sunday, or perhaps. But I did remember looking into this because there were some builders near me that were starting at 7 a.m, which I guess is the way of the world, but I just thought...
Yeah, I think the problem is everything else is so quiet at the moment that sort of noise, which probably wouldn't have been picked up 6 months ago, is now very prominent on the estate. So yeah, people are taking notice. But
I'm very intrigued by the sound of his panting. Panting so loud he's waking up a family.
Yeah.
Well, have they got their windows open?
They must have, and also maybe
maybe
they're an elderly couple that, you know, my grandma wakes up at 9:30, 10. So, and if she was hearing someone panting past her window at 8:30, maybe she'd send a letter. I don't know. Anyway.
Everyone's got their own vibe.
My grandma very much enjoyed you on House of Games, by the way, Elis.
Thank you.
Big fan.
But Elis didn't win.
No, I got absolutely robbed on the Friday. So many tweets that say, what a nail biter.
Did she enjoy me on House of Games, Dave?
No, she thought you came across as scum.
No. Oh, man, that was the tensest experience of my life.
She would. I'm sure she would have... Norma would have enjoyed you as well, John, if she had caught you, but she caught Elis and said he looks like a lovely young man.
Right, well, that's good. He's got a good CV.
Right, let's play this made-up game. What have you got, Dave?
Okay, so this is from Andy. He says, "Hello, gents. I believe I've hit upon a great made-up game, which I would like to share with you. I played with my girlfriend and had a whale of a time, though it did get slightly heated. Our perfect made-up game in that case. I'm calling it Auckland to Gibraltar, in honour of the best score I managed, 12,387 miles, if you must know. The aim of the game is to name two places which are the furthest from each other as the crow flies."
Nice.
Is it furthest or farthest?
Either.
Okay, great. Here's how to play. Producer Dave will choose two random letters. Ellis and John will then write...
It's furthest, sorry.
Cool. Producer Dave will choose two random letters. Ellis and John will then write down a place, village, town or city that begins with the selected letters. For example, if P and B were selected, you could go with Paris and Boston, which would be 3,436 miles.
36 miles?
36 miles, Dave.
I'm going to say that again. Which could be 3,436 miles.
Love it. I love it. Dave,
yeah,
I'm in love with it.
Game. I know not everyone was a fan of last week's game, which was when Elis just went all the way through and played the whole game on his own because it was too easy. So I think we're going to redeem ourselves here a little bit.
I already absolutely love this game.
The person with the highest answer in miles wins the points in its best of three. So these places should be villages, towns, cities, or counties/states. I think what we're saying is countries are probably out of the question.
It can't be a county.
It can, I think.
No, because a county isn't a finite place. You can't measure from Devon to Boston because where are you starting in Devon?
Okay, good point. No counties, so no states either then.
No counties, no states.
Great, winning songs.
My track for the blimmin' millionth time is Oh La La by The Faces, which I want played at my funeral, FYI, should it ever happen, as people are walking out.
Okay. How many songs currently being played at your funeral, John?
I've got it down to 6.
Okay.
But that's still half an hour of just music.
Right. It's more of a sad gig than a...
Well, I thought what I'm going to do is play the sort of big 3 and then hand out a pre-recorded mix CD at the end so people can carry on my funeral in their own homes.
Okay.
But you could save a lot of this playlist for the drinks afterwards.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. No one else is getting on the decks at the wake.
Elis, what's your chosen track? Keep it light.
He was really saying something by the Velvets.
Oh, great song.
Which they could play at your funeral, because you were really saying something about blunders in your life, and they'll reflect on the ultimate blunder that led to your demise.
Right. Warmest regards, Andy. Should have finished the email. Who wants to...
Thanks, Andy. I love your game, mate.
It's a great game. Who wants to... We've not got coins these days. Shall I toss my B...
Oh, Dave!
Yes?
I've got a commemorative Queen coin. No, it's too rare. Carry on.
I've got a big B coaster. Shall I toss that? See what happens?
Yeah,
Yes,
toss the
please.
B, mate.
Yeah, okay. John, do you want...
It looks quite hefty.
It is hefty. It's going to be a little toss on the couch.
Okay. I'll go for B side up, please. B's for Queen.
B side up. It's B side down. All I've got there is the cork from the bottom.
Oh.
Okay, I'd like to go first then.
Cannot
Dave.
wait.
Great. So I've got a random letter generator here, El.
Okay.
So, first letter I will randomly create is... Ooh. V. Second letter, randomly generated, is T.
Ooh, V to T.
Vermont to Tasmania.
Ooh, that's very good.
Vermont, United States, I assume, Elis?
Well, Canada. No, America,
Yeah.
yeah, for God's sake. Sorry, I was thinking of Vancouver.
That's okay. Tasmania.
Well, Vermont is a state, isn't it?
Oh, this
Or
is
is
where
this
it's
a-
going to get confusing, isn't it? Is
Okay,
Vermont
let's
a state?
Vancouver then. Vancouver to
No,
Tasmania.
you can't change it. You said Vermont.
All right, but I'm just wondering, is Vermont a city or is it a state?
Oh, it's a state.
Okay, so I'll go Vancouver to Tasmania.
Yeah, just because you've worked out that's further away. Well done. Well done. Nice little tactic. The sort of tactic of a thief. Oh, actually, Vancouver's way closer,
It isn't.
isn't it? Well, Dave, say it so we know what I have to beat.
Okay, so it is distance as the crow flies in miles, 10,184.
Oh, that is good.
Okay, so John, you're playing with the letter R for Romeo and F for Foxtrot.
R to F as I live and breathe. Okay, so... Oh, it's tricky. It is... I'm trying to imagine the world. I'm going to go for... Thing is, I don't know that many places that begin with F.
Ooh, that's the guess, the danger of the game, John.
Yeah. I'm finding this harder than I thought, Dave.
I should have put a time.
I'm going to have to hurry you.
I'm going to have to
John.
No,
hurry.
you're not. You know, you're going to have to sit and listen to me think.
Great.
Oh, dear, Dave.
You need to hurry up, John.
You need to shut your mouth, because all this time you're spending trying to chivvy me on is taking out my thinking
We're
time.
losing listeners, John.
Shut up! Shut your noise! Okay, I'm going to go for from Rio de Janeiro to Fife.
Ooh, the well-trodden path.
Incredibly, that would have been my choice.
Really?
Yeah, because I was initially going to go Farnborough, then I thought there has to be an F further north than Farnborough. Fife.
Fife in Bonnie, Scotland. Rio de Janeiro. Okay. Ooh. Round one to Elis.
What did I get, Dave?
Are we doing it in cumulative miles? We should do it that way.
Oh, what do you think?
No, we'll play it as the game is.
Yeah,
Dave, what was my one?
5,946.
So I'd be 5,000 points ahead.
So what
now.
was Ellis's one before he cheated and changed it?
10,184, Vancouver to Tasmania.
Tasmania's not a city either. That's a state.
Oh, hold on.
Feels a bit like it's going to be void.
It is a little state.
So
If you're going for the centre of the state, which I assume they are, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Okay, thank you, Dave. All right, then let's move on to round two.
So basically, we just say whatever we want. So I'll say a planet then.
All right, no.
Okay.
No.
It's got to be on the Earth. It's got to be on the Earth. You can't go for Neptune.
So what? You're allowed countries and states now.
Not countries.
Why not countries if you're allowed states?
Okay, have what you want. I don't care.
Well, I do care.
Let's
Because
move
Ellis
on
has
to-
scored points with a wrong answer.
Okay, well, why don't you show him in the next round and really get
Yeah,
him?
you show me, John.
John, you go first for round two to see what happens.
Okay.
D to C.
So I'm going to go for Christchurch to Delaware.
Delaware's a state.
I know, we're allowed states now, you oaf.
Alice, it was your misstep that meant we are now allowing states. Don't bring it up again. Good score, John. 8,980.
Thank you.
Ellis, the next letters are W and N for November.
Waikato in Australia.
How are you spelling that?
Waikato. To, what was it, N for November? Newcastle.
Waikato in where? Sorry, Ellis, New Zealand.
It's in New Zealand
yeah.
or Australia.
Got it. Found it, mate. Well done.
To Newcastle upon Tyne.
Oh, Ellis is good at the game. He's good at the game. 11,410.
So it's round 3.
Well, you've won. Should we play anyway?
Yeah, because it's a good fun game.
Well, the game was void
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah, let's just carry on playing the void game.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Because rules don't matter.
They don't
We,
anymore.
matter.
we celebrate law breaking.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's play another one. It's a lot of fun.
I think it's important to remember these made-up games, they're fluid, they're flexible. We're all learning. We're all learning as we go, you know?
Yeah.
Come on then, let's do another one. It's basically named somewhere in Australia and somewhere in England. That's the game.
Yeah. It is actually, you're
So,
right.
Andy, I take back what I said about your game. I think I've found the flaw in the game.
Go on then, Ellis, you start first, please. The letters are U and A.
I can't think of anywhere beginning with U. That's not a country. And we're all thinking of the same country.
Are we?
U. Uruguay.
Oh, he's gone for a
I was
country.
thinking of Uzbekistan. I'm going to have to hurry you. I've already got one. I've already thought
Have you?
of one.
Have you got one?
Yeah, I've got one. And I'm going to have to hurry you.
Don't mimic, because you're just bad loser.
Utoxeter.
That was exactly the one I was thinking.
Utoxeter.
So you're not going for Uruguay?
No,
No, because that's a country.
Yeah, but I thought the rules had been thrown out the window.
Oh,
Utoxeter in, is it Staffordshire?
I can't find that. Got it. I wasn't doing the old double T, was I? A.
To A? Okay,
Yeah.
Adelaide.
man. So I need to find somewhere north of Utoxeter and south of Adelaide.
Yeah, you're getting it now. 10,151, Al.
Okay.
Decent. Hey, Al, you've been plus 10 for every round. Well done.
Yeah.
Right, John, final round for you.
Yeah.
Your letters are D and F.
D and F, our old friend F again.
Yeah.
Dundee
To
Yeah.
Fife.
to
I'm going to have to.
far away.
Far away.
To the Faroe Islands.
Good one. That's nice. That's nice.
Oh, that can't be right. Faroe Islands. It's saying that distance is 400 miles.
That's not true. It's by Argentina.
Oh no, Faroe Islands is right by Scotland.
Well, you said the answer.
It's 400 miles.
No, it's not. The
Yeah,
Faroe
it
Islands
is.
is by Argentina.
No, it's not.
Why do you think we fought the Argentinians for the Faroe Islands?
We didn't.
It's because it's
That was
yes,
the Falkland
we did.
Islands, you
Yeah, the
absolute twerp.
Falklands.
Oh,
I thought the Faroe Islands was another collection of islands down by there. I should have said the Falklands. I've said the Faroe Islands, that's fine.
oh yeah. The Faroe Islands is sort of on the way to like Iceland, isn't it?
It's just
remember
just north of the Shetland
Yeah, I remember
Islands.
Wales playing the. I remember Wales playing the Faroe Islands.
It's 400 miles.
It's 400 miles.
So, Ellis, I mean, you won every round, so rule breaking or no rule breaking, it was a fairly healthy win.
Thank you. Well, my treat for winning this week's controversial made-up game is He Was Really Saying Something by the Velvets. That was He Was Really Saying Something by the Velvets, my treat for winning this week's made-up game. If you've got a made-up game you'd like to submit to the show that you think maybe John might do quite well at. He's on an incredible, uncharacteristic losing streak, so maybe send one in that's related to Queen or Frank Zappa or Farthings or Isolation.
Yeah, ideally send a game in that won't mean Elis confuses the Faroe Islands for the Falkland Islands.
That didn't happen.
Just making sure that stays in the edit there.
Didn't happen.
Despite Elis offering Dave 250 grand to the NHS if that got edited out.
Didn't happen because I'm the kind of person who knows that the Falkland Islands is by Argentina and that the Faroe Islands
gives you an idea of the man's financial resources.
It does actually, yeah.
It's not.
Elis, we're all human. I think what you've done there is really humanised this show, and that's what we needed.
Well, no, I've just been reading a lot about the Falklands, and I assume.
You sure it was the Falklands, or have you been reading about the Faroe Islands? Because I was the bigger fool for picking the Faroe Islands, but I was thinking of the Faroe Islands. I just didn't know where they were.
See, I was thinking of the Falklands because I thought that's actually quite good. Well done, John, is what I was thinking. But I don't know why we're talking about it because it's not going to make the edit anyway.
But if it does make the edit, because I keep mentioning that you mistook the Faroe Islands for the Falkland Islands, it's worth pointing out that at one point off air, Elis said to Dave, people need to know that I'm the sort of person who knows where the Falkland Islands are. Just to give you an idea of the kind of image Elis wants to promote at all times. Not of a perfect dad on Instagram, not of a sort of a studly and buff fitness fanatic, but the sort of guy who knows where the Falkland Islands are. And that's brand James. And that can't be threatened by slip of the tongue or just by sort of brain fade. At all times, Elis has to be the sort of person that you'd look at and think, I bet he knows where the Falkland Islands are.
Such a shame. Then all of that is going to have to come out in the edit because Dave's going to snip out the initial mistake when he tightens up the made-up game. Such a shame.
Well, I'll try and snip it out, but if not, I'm going to call this podcast Elis Doesn't Know Where the Falkland Islands Are. So.
I was born during the Falklands War.
Were you?
Yeah. SS Sheffield was sunk at the day I was born.
Isolation vents, chaps. Should we read some of those out?
Yes, please. Obviously, it's difficult for people to leave the house in this period of lockdown, and so tiny little niggles that you might have with family, friends, loved ones, and what have you are being magnified. So we're giving you room to let some steam off. We're giving you some room to let off some steam in the isolation vent.
To steam off?
He's losing it. Oh, no.
I wonder if they steam off in the Falklands and the Faroe Islands. Just get in there, big steam rooms. That's right, guys. Every week, Elis and I, for 6 years now, have been playing a game that's been made up by a listener. And now more than ever, those games are crucial for the nation's sense of well-being. I hope we're all making up games in our own homes. This week's game, I believe, was inspired by last week's game. Last week's game, if you remember, was called... What was it called, Dave?
Auckland to Gibraltar is what the game was called.
It was called Auckland to Gibraltar, and it was where people had to name two places far away from each other as possible based on two letters of the alphabet. So, for example, A and G, Auckland, Gibraltar. There was quite a lot of controversy from quite a few different angles in last week's game. I mistakenly thought Fife was a city or town. It wasn't. Elis thought Tasmania was a city or town. It wasn't. Well, I don't think he thought that. We weren't clear on whether states were allowed. Anyway, Elis mistakenly mocked me for thinking that the Faroe Islands was far away because it's by Argentina. He said, John, I know this because we fought a war for the Faroe Islands.
No.
I then pointed out he'd confused the Falkland Islands with the Faroe Islands.
I...
in a little gap of recording, Elis made a request to Dave that we cut it out because, in his words, I'm the sort of person who knows where the Falklands are.
Yes, I cannot state that strongly enough. I am the kind of person who knows that the Falkland Islands, the Malvinas, if you're Argentinian, is near Argentina, and that the Faroe Islands is a few hundred miles north of Scotland. I know that. I knew that. It was a slip of the tongue.
It was a brain fade, and believe you me, Elis is the sort of person who knows where the Falklands are. Just want to make that clear.
I'm well aware that Margaret Thatcher didn't send a task force to the Faroe Islands in 1982. She sent them to the Falkland Islands. It was a slip of the tongue. It's because I expected John to choose the Falklands because I know that the Falklands is near Argentina, and I didn't think it made any sense for him to choose the Faroe Islands, so I was actually giving John too much credit, if anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, fast forward 5 minutes, and I've been made to look a fool on national radio, and I've had probably 60 tweets about it, so thank you very much, Dave, for choosing to keep it in.
That's okay, and we mustn't forget that had I nipped out the oversight and the brain fade, as we're calling it.
Yeah, it was an oversight.
Yeah, you did offer to donate £250,000 to the NHS, but I thought what the nation needed more was to hear the truth and the outcome of what actually happened rather than that money, which I'm sure you would have sent on.
Yes.
Captain Tom Moore has more than covered Ellis's £250,000 in order that the nation get to see a man not know where the Falklands are and then to need people to think they're the sort of person that do.
Yes.
Anyway, Dave, what's the title of this week's game?
Okay, so this week we're going to be playing Faroe or Falklands.
Good game. Sounds like a good game.
Yeah, it's a follow-on from last week, obviously. This actually came in, and again, because I was perusing the text console for 5 Live last Friday afternoon as the show was going on, this has come in from Ollie in Norfolk. So he might not even know that we're playing his game because it was just a flippant text that was sent in after last week's game. And he says, "Hey, Elis and John, can we have a game called Falklands or Faroes where you have to guess which fact relates to where?"
Because they're sort of similar land masses at the very least.
Well, we'll get into that now, won't we? So this is how we'll play.
But if I know Elis, Dave,
Yeah.
after the oversight, which caused him momentarily to not seem like the kind of man who knows where the Falklands are, he's going to have spent a disproportionate amount of the last week on the Wikipedia pages for the Faroe Islands and the Falkland Islands.
I mean, I know this stuff anyway. My friend Gary Pritchard has been to the Faroes, and Phil Stant, the ex-Cardiff City player, fought in the Falklands, so there you have it.
Okay.
That's the kind of background knowledge I had anyway going into that little minor faux pas, which I think has been blown out of all proportion, actually.
Don't get too cocky, Al, because this game will prove whether or not you really do know your Faroes from your Falklands. Okay. So here's how we're going to play. There are 6 facts here, and you guys just have... It's a very simple game this week, but I think it'll be fun. You guys just have to say whether it's the Faroe Islands or the Falkland Islands. We'll go back and forth, so you'll each have a separate fact. You'll have 3 each. Most points at the end wins, okay? Maximum.
Are you allowed to steal, Dave?
No, because it'll clearly be the other island.
Okay.
So.
All right. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just desperate to show that I actually know a lot about this stuff.
So, Elis, as you were the subject of last week's controversy more than John with this, you can go first. Or you can choose whether to go first or second.
No, I'll go first.
You go first, you're confident.
I want to put this whole Falklands Faroes issue to bed, actually, so I'll go first and we can get the game over and done with nice and quickly. Thank you.
Okay. Right, fact number 1, Faroes or Falklands. I comprise of 18 separate islands in total.
Faroes.
Faroe Islands, Elis, correct. 1-0.
Okay.
John, over to you. My coat of arms depicts a silver ram with golden hooves on an azure shield.
I'm going to go Falklands.
It's Faroe. Falklands' coat of arms consists of a ram on tussock grass in a field with a sailing ship underneath. So
it's a double ram.
They are quite similar. They both have rams on the coat of arms. Interesting. Okay, number 3, Elis. Oh, sorry, fact number 2 for you, should I say. I have an area of 12,200 square kilometres.
Falklands.
It is Falklands. Well done. Really coming into your own here.
Do you know what? I've got a little bit of pride back. I've restored a little bit of pride. Even if I don't win this game, Dave, I've restored a little bit of pride.
You've also got the Wikipedia page for the Falklands reflected in your glasses.
No.
Carry on, Dave.
I think you need to win the game to restore the pride, Al, so let's just see how we
I haven't won
out.
a game for like 6 weeks.
Still time.
Imagining.
Okay, John. Faroes or Falklands? I have produced a sports person who has won an Olympic gold medal.
I'm going to say it's Faroes.
It's Falklands.
Oh,
So that's... I don't even know whether you can now win, John. Louis
who was it?
Boilan, who competed in the 1908 London Olympics for Great Britain. He was born in the Falklands but left at the age of 7.
What was his sport? What was his discipline?
It doesn't actually say. I'll find out.
Oh, that's a shame. It's the kind of stuff I would know, actually.
It is the kind of stuff.
Olympic gold medalist James Cracknell listens to this show and has been chatting with me on Twitter.
Oh.
I've been chatting to James on Twitter as well.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Crackers.
He's handsome.
I wanted to get him to give you a birthday message, John, for the last podcast that we did on Monday.
But he couldn't be bothered.
He said he would have done one for Elis, but he's not so keen on John.
Yeah.
No, he just missed the cut-off, but he was very apologetic, and what a lovely guy.
Lovely guy.
Lovely man. Big fan of the show. Elis, you could go for the clean sweep here, which really would...
Okay, don't put any undue pressure on me,
That
please,
really
Dave.
would be the redemption you're looking for.
Yeah, thank you.
I have the most Nobel laureates per capita of any country or territory in the world.
I think the Falklands is too small to have had a Nobel... Is it a Nobel Prize winner?
Yeah.
For Faroes?
It's 3-0 so far. This is lovely stuff. Well done, Elis. Just one Nobel Prize winner, Niels Ruberg Finsen, in 1903 won the prize in medicine, which means weighted to its population, there are 20 laureates per 1 million people compared to just 2 in the UK.
Okay.
John, to avoid a touch of embarrassment, but not as much as last week's for Elis.
Well, I don't... Thing is, Dave, I don't care.
Come on, don't do that. Don't take your ball and go home.
No, but this is the point of this is not to restore my pride. My pride would have been Fife or East Fife.
You can't start. You can't start to lose a game and then say you don't care halfway through.
Oh no, I'm glad Elis is restoring his pride. Okay, hit me.
Okay, I won a total of 60 medals in the 2019 Island Games in Gibraltar.
Faroes.
Correct.
There we go. That's pretty respectable. 3-1.
That's all right. Falklands finished joint bottom with Alderney and St Helena with 0 medals.
Anglesey take part in that in North Wales, don't they?
Do they?
Siobhan takes part in the Island Games, yeah.
Could not the UK take part in the Island Games?
Surely not.
Or Ireland, or Northern Ireland, or Australia?
I don't know what the parameters are, John, if I'm honest.
Fair enough.
I'd never even heard of the Island Games before this.
Well, if it's
game.
size based, then Greenland are going to get pretty annoyed. It must be population based.
Yeah. Again, who knows? Maybe another game for another time.
This is what Wikipedia is for, thankfully. So John can read the Wikipedia page for the Island Games as I play my treat for winning this week's made-up game. This is All Possibilities by Badly Drawn Boy.
And this week, Dave, what's our game?
Well, before we move on to this week's game, which I'm hoping will be a belter, a few people tweeted me yesterday saying on Tipping Point, on Ben Shepherd's Tipping Point, which may I say is a cracking little game show if you've never seen it.
I've never seen it, Dave.
I'm a fan of Ben Shepherd's work, though, if he's listening. Big fan of BS.
Yeah, and he always has a lovely outfit on. Always an open shirt.
Yeah.
Casual blazer. Maybe a nice slim jean, which I think is a cracking look for Ben.
He looks like a very competent host for a corporate event, is what I always think whenever I see him with his open shirt.
He means business, but he's willing to have a bit of fun along the way.
Who is Ben Shepherd?
What?
Google image him, John, right now,
Google
because
imaging.
you will know who Ben Shepherd is.
He's very affable. Anyway, on yesterday's episode of Tipping Point, and we will let it lie after this, but do you remember a couple of weeks ago, Elis? I don't know if you remember, a couple of weeks ago there was the whole Falklands Faroe Islands debacle. Do you remember?
Yes. Where a very, very understandable slip of the tongue, because I was thinking about something else, meant that briefly I mixed up my Faroe Islands with my Falkland Islands. Yes, I do remember that, which John got an awful lot of comedic capital out of. Well done.
Well, no, the comedic capital came from your insistence that we edit that out of the broadcast show because, to quote you, you didn't want people to think that you were the sort of man who didn't know where the Falklands
because
were.
I am the sort of man who knows where the Falklands are. That's the thing. I've always known where they are.
But you didn't know where the Falklands were for a bit.
Yeah, for the first time in my life, I got something wrong.
And you panicked that it might get out to the general public that you were the sort of man who didn't know where the Falklands were.
Yeah, very briefly. It's a mistake I've never made before, and it's a mistake I can sincerely promise you I will never make again.
Yeah. Luckily, we just brushed past it and it wasn't brought up again, so I doubt many people have picked up on it.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
But in yesterday's episode of Tipping Point, a Welshman, fittingly, got to the final and was asked this question.
Let's go for geography for 2 counters, please.
Okay. Which group of islands is known in Argentina as La Isla Malvinas?
Falklands.
The Canary Islands, the Falkland Islands, the Cook Islands.
It's the Falklands.
Do you know those islands?
I do. I know the Canaries is just off Africa. The Falklands
It's the
is...
Falklands,
Is it
come
just
on.
off Scotland? I'm not sure.
Oh my God, come on, mate.
Oh, no, maybe it is. Didn't we have a war with Argentina over the Falklands? I think...
Is it the Falkland Islands?
Thank God, wow, yes.
It was the Falklands, but Elis, you're not on your own in that other people, and all from Wales it seems, also think
Yeah,
that
don't make this a Welsh thing. I don't want to use this as a stick to beat the Welsh education system with.
He didn't seem 100% sure that the Falklands War had happened. Elis, are you the sort of person who's sure that the Falklands War happened?
Yes, it happened in 1982, and I could name you several significant events from the Falklands War. I mean, he might be 11 years old, and his voice broke very early.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the first child contestant on Tipping Point, and actually he was born in 2009. I haven't seen the footage. I've just heard it.
Anyway, I thought, El, that might have been of some comfort to you in that...
No, not really, Dave.
Because the chat there...
Do you know what it feels like, actually? It feels like on-air bullying, Dave. And I expect it from John, but I expect better from you, actually, Dave.
Elis, is today a day where you know the difference between the Falklands and the Faroes, or is it one of your off days?
Yes. No, like every other day in my life, apart from 5 minutes 3 weeks ago. Basically, when John chose the Faroe Islands, I expected more of him. And I thought he'd chosen the Falklands because it was further, because the game was you had to choose 2 countries that are long... a great distance from each other. Now, I knew that the Faroes wasn't an enormous distance from the other country he'd chosen, so I assumed he'd chosen the Falklands, hence the mental slip-up that I made, that I then, unfortunately, broadcast to the nation in, I think I can say this, probably something I regret more than anything else I've ever done in my life, because it is now the thing that defines me. You know, Mary Quant is defined by the miniskirt, and I'm defined by this.
We're perhaps giving it too much airtime, given that it was a sort of a 10-second thing that happened 3 weeks ago, but a lot of fun was had.
A lot of fun.